Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we are talking once again about Tonix Pharmaceuticals Holding Corporation, TNXP, trading at 41 cents per share. And if we look back at the last year, you can see that the performance of this stock was down over 98%. Actually, when I bought this stock, it was down over 98% within the last year. It has since fallen, now it's 95.99% over the last year, which if you look at the last, the year-to-date performance, 32.19%. So that's since January, essentially January 1st. Last 6 months down 28%. Past month up 20%. And the last 5 days we're up 75%. So this is where it gets interesting, because if you look at a stock that went from under 20 cents per share when I bought the stock, I bought it at about 15 cents a share, all the way to $1.93 within the pre-market. Now, it actually closed at about 60 cents per share when I had bought the stock, right? So when we are looking at this, we have to keep in mind that we're dealing with massive volatility, because in the pre-market, it basically peaked off at $1.94 and then sold off. Now, I had an order to sell at $2 per share. If it would have gone up more than 6 cents, my order would have filled. But of course, it only hit $1.94, right? So that's fine. But I still was able to make out with a profit, and that's the point, right? So with these stocks, they're so volatile that you can see a 10x within a very short period of time. You can also lose 50% of your portfolio within a very short period of time. So that's always something to keep in mind with a stock like this. But if we're looking at, the performance and what this catalyst is, the catalyst itself is FDA approval and basically marketing approval, official approval to sell and distribute this drug across the nation. And if we look at the Tonix Pharmaceuticals drug in question, we're targeting fibromyalgia. And if we look at the chart and where this thing is traded, you can see multiple gaps in the chart. I've talked about this, going from $1 all the way up to $2 per share. And so if we look at this thing 10xing again potentially, we see $1.30 per share within the pre-market, right? So, or that was when the market opened, I'm sorry. So what happened was it hit $1.94 and then went down to $1.30 on that day, opening up. It was pretty cool to experience, but at the same time, it happened so quickly that your profit opportunity was very short-lived, unless you're glued to your screen and you were able to dump your position right then and there. Or you had an order to fill at, let's say, $1 per share, then or whatever it was. The point is, if we look at 25 cents all the way up to 30 cents, little gap there. But this was trading under 20 cents for quite some time, all the way going back to September. So people had an opportunity to load up on this thing. Now we're kind of seeing a rebound, but the question is, can this thing spike back up by the time that we're expecting approval for this type of stock, right? This penny stock, which is extremely volatile. Now, this news came out on January 4th, beginning of the year. Savvy Management LLC acquires 1.3 million shares in Tonix Pharmaceuticals Holding Corporation. Now, everything I'm seeing here in terms of the shares outstanding, 186 million shares outstanding for Tonix Pharmaceuticals. So you can look at the float and what the shares outstanding are and kind of make a determination in terms of the liquidity of the stock when it trades. And so 186 million shares outstanding according to Y-Charts. That's the most recently updated number for this company. So that's how many shares outstanding. If you look at the market cap at $1 per share, that's what this would be right here. That's the number of shares outstanding. $186 million market cap or valuation at $1 per share. So then the question becomes, if they do get approval with the FDA, right? So this is the target date for TNX 102SL for fibromyalgia. If they get approval, is this worth $186 million or more at $1 per share? And that's assuming they don't have to raise more money. Because if they're low on cash and they need to raise more money, they can use debt or equity. They can, go into debt, or they can also raise money via equity. And so the question is, if they end up doing so, what does that look like for the share structure and the valuation and the ultimate market cap at a higher share price for this company? So August 15th, 2025, once again, just confirmation. Even the AI overview from Google has it for us here. So fibromyalgia, drug is a non-opioid. Could be the first new treatment for fibromyalgia in over 15 years. And that's kind of the hype surrounding this thing. That's why people are so excited about this. but we have different institutions adding to this. And if we look at potentially this going above $1 per share again, or even $2 per share, what's the valuation at that price, right? So 41 cents right now, we're up 75% basically in the last 5 days, and we're making a pretty good rebound from the last month because we traded down not even under 20 cents per share. Because when I bought this stock and this thing 10x within a very short period of time, and I've since exited my position, but I wish everybody the best with this stock because this thing could go way back up. And so when I was trading this thing, like I said, it was under 20 cents per share, and it was basically doing nothing for a long time. But then it spiked up to $1.94, and congratulations to everybody who made money on this trade. Whatever the amount of money you made was, it was a good return. I personally made more than double what I put in, so I'll take it. That's kind of an exciting thing to think about. And so when you're looking at these stocks, just remember there's always massive risk, but there's also a great return potential with a stock like this. And so when we're looking at, a stock like Tonix Pharmaceuticals with a goal date of August 15th, one thing to keep in mind here is the liquidity. Overall, what is your liquidity situation for a company like this in terms of raising money and also surviving until they can get that goal approval and start generating revenue and hopefully profit for the drug they're going to be selling? Is that 1 year out? I mean, how long does this take? And the other risk to keep in mind is a reverse split, which reverse splits are generally viewed as negative for shareholders. A lot of people don't like reverse splits. And so if we look at a reverse split, basically you might have 10,000 shares and they do a 1-for-10 reverse split, which means you get 1 share for every 10 that you previously owned. Now you own 1,000 shares. The share price goes from 50 cents to $5 a share. And now what they can do is maintain this listing. Because if they don't get this above $1 per share, guys, like it is right here on this chart, this is when it hit $1 per share when I was, with this thing 10x basically within a very short period of time. But when this happened, right, that was basically not maintained. So we have to have a maintained share price above $1 per share in order for this thing to stay on the NASDAQ. And if we don't get that, then the possibility exists of this stock having to reverse split, let's say, at 25, 30, 45 cents a share, 1-for-10 reverse split, 50 cents a share, $5 now. Now they're eligible on the NASDAQ again just by doing a reverse split. Now, I think I heard some news going around, and people were saying basically that there is not going to be a reverse split for quite some time. They're not eligible to do one right now. And so then the question becomes, does this stock get delisted if it's under $1 per share? What happens to that, right? So there's a lot to consider here. There's a lot of risk. Anybody who tells you this is like set in stone and that there's no risk with this and that you're guaranteed to 10x your money is not telling you the whole picture. But at the same time, the opportunity does exist if things do play out favorably for this to experience something like that. And we already saw that from under 20 cents a share. Now the question is, can this thing go to, from 40 cents a share up to, let's say, if you look at some of these gaps in the chart, all the way up to $3 a share right here. And then you can even go up higher and just keep going from, see, this is nothing right here, $10 a share. You can see gaps going up to $20 a share if I can even find this thing. This is pretty crazy. But this is where people are saying like, oh, well, this could go parabolic to $50+ a share. Could that happen? Yes. There's analysts, I guess, like algorithms and robots out there with all these different websites telling us that this thing could go parabolic to the moon. And here's a huge gap at $36 a share going up to, if we just keep on zooming out here, try to find out where this gap goes to, from $30 a share all the way up to $43 a share. Is that correct? So 43, basically a $13 gap above $30 a share. The next gap, though, if you go from $2 to $3, that's a pretty good gap too. So there's a lot of gaps that could potentially be filled on the chart. This would be a ridiculous one to fill. Could it happen, though? Could this hit a multi-billion-dollar market cap if the hype is there and you have enough liquidity? It's possible. We've seen crazier things in the market, right? So, especially being the first fibromyalgia drug within the last 15 years. So, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video on Tonix Pharmaceuticals. Let me know what you think in the comments down below and what you believe is going to happen to Tonix Pharmaceuticals. Will they get approved with that target date from the FDA of August 15th. It's going to be, 7 months, 6 months roughly from February. So we're already at the end of January here. So 6 months from now, we might have that decision from the FDA. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you in the next video. Take care.